NHL 23. We have been playing it for a long time. Um, our credentials, just so you guys know, we're not talking out of our ass. We are a Division One team. We win a decent amount of games. We're pretty good. Like I will always say that.
Disclaimer that we do have lives. So
Yeah,
just for those wondering,
That, but also at the same time, we are good at the game. Because a lot of
yeah,
people are like, you don't like the game because you're bad, and that's not true. So that's
if you want to know how
before we
good
get
we
into
are,
it.
there's clips on TikTok and Twitter of like some
Not
plays
even
that
that. Like the record speaks for itself too.
yeah.
So
Yeah, and then also we are gonna start we don't like the game, but it's the only NHL game that exists. So you know, people are always like, oh, why do you play it? I'm like, dude, I love hockey, and it's what else am I gonna play? So that's really the main reason why EA has got us there with their monopoly of the NHL game. But with that being said, Darius, take the floor for a little bit. We're gonna be focusing on World of Trout for the most part, just because HUT is a cesspool and I never touch it. GM mode offline games I don't really get too mad about because it's like whatever, it's an offline game.
yeah,
And ESHL is where we spend the bulk of our time. So, Darius, what do you want to discuss first?
I think like overall, like it hasn't changed since like 19. Like I don't think they've really changed anything since 19 in terms of maybe some different like abilities and stuff, or the perks or whatever the frig they call it. But it's basically the same game for the last four editions. They make some stupid ass changes like the playoff format before, and I know Matt's gonna get into it too. But the playoff format before was like the closest thing to real playoffs as you can get with that game mode, because obviously you can't schedule times to play with different teams and shit. So it was the closest thing you got to like an actual playoff, series win, and then you win the championship after four wins. That was cool. This new thing is like literally whoever stays home from school the most wins the championship this month. Like you have to play the most amount of games, and I have a life. There's no reward for me personally, or most people playing this game to play the playoffs, and they stick you outside. So you work all this time to unlock all this shit in your arena, and then you don't get to see it in the playoffs, which makes no sense. Like it's actually probably the dumbest thing I've ever seen in a video game. Like that switch, like honest to God, like it has to be, because it literally, there is zero logic to it. And I know Matt wanted to, Matt, I'll give you the floor too. I know you want to talk about the playoff format too, but there is so much, and we're going to continue to get into it. There's so much with this game that literally like, there's no way that they look online to see what people are saying about the game. There's zero chance. Go ahead, Matt.
yeah, like the playoff format, it's ridiculous. You spend 2 weeks outside. Like you said, whoever plays the most wins. And even if you play a few games, you get like a banner to go, congrats, you were in like the 75th percentile. Like, you don't want to celebrate
Yeah,
that. That's so
Yeah,
no,
stupid.
trash.
That is ridiculous. Like, you want to see, like the virtual crowd wave the towels, kill a penalty, wave the towels, score a goal, wave the towels, Zamboni, wave the towels. But it's just so it's so dry. It's a
They've
dry
tried
mode.
so hard to make this game Fortnite. Like, you get all. Sorry.
I disagree with that.
Okay, go ahead.
I
Why?
disagree with that.
Yeah, I
Um,
was curious. I was curious on those comparison. Continue.
Number one, Fortnite is built on battle pass and cosmetics and paying for that stuff. They don't have any of that. Number two was
HUD.
um, well, I mean, HUD isn't like there's no like
Not this
battle
game
pass.
mode. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sure.
No, but like Fortnite is built on like their battle pass essentially,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
their collaborations and cosmetics. So I don't really see any correlation there. Not to call you dumb or anything, but you're dumb. I think no, I'm playing. But I just think what this game is, they had a really good system. When I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I didn't play ESHL until the new generation, which is now the old generation, the PS4, which is crazy to say. But like I picked it up in I think when did it come back? 17? Because it was not in 15 or 16.
Yeah.
No, it was in
Oh,
60.
it was in 16, but you couldn't customize anything. You could literally just get into a game with your friends.
Oh, it's like you're like the two-way dangler, or like the
Oh,
the jumbo
the pre-built.
playmaker.
Yeah. Yeah. We were
Those
like,
those builds.
no, they didn't even have that. It was just like playmaker, sniper, power forward, and then like it was like three literally, and then it was two-way
Okay.
defenseman, defensive defenseman, offensive defenseman.
Okay,
But you
so I
couldn't
picked it up.
customize anything. You were literally like the Calgary Hitmen versus like whatever NHL team. Like there's
Oh,
no
it was just
custom.
stock. It was just
Yeah.
stock
Everything
stuff.
was stock. It was trash.
Okay, so I picked it up I think in 17 then, and I started playing with you guys in 19. So that that's that. And my biggest problem is the random the random unlockables. It's so annoying, and like my main problem is with this game. A lot of people will say this is inherently the fundamentals not the worst thing ever. Like every game is gonna have meta builds and like exploiting and stuff. You almost can't avoid that. The issue is with EA or EA Sports in the NHL realm is they don't fix it. Number one, like most of the time, if like in Call of Duty, for example, if a gun is way too OP, they'll nerf it, right? That's just it makes sense.
Yeah.
And but in hockey, if like for day one of the game, people are like, oh, if you put truculence and unstoppable force on your build, no one can touch you. And it's the same. And the game came out November, early November,
Yeah.
and it's middle of February now. And then hockey bags is one of the worst unlockable systems I've ever seen in a video game. Like, what other game was like random, just random? It's dude. You could be like prestige like 4 and not have a celebration you want.
But they do
you
it
haven't
so
unlocked it.
They do it so you continue to play. So then you in hopes that you eventually unlock it. But like for example, last year, I wanted like these goalie pads. Never got it. The year came and went. The new game comes out. That's all. Like,
Yeah,
like,
exactly. It's awful. And like, it's the gameplay is also not, honestly, it's not the worst thing in the world. Like I feel like when
this year's much worse than before. I think.
The NHL games are so funny because it's like even when you're winning, you notice the stupid stuff of the game. Like we'll be up like 6-0 on a team and be like, dude, this game is awful. Like it doesn't matter if you're winning or not. Because like there's and another thing is their player base is so small. Where like sometimes if you're like we're a D1 team getting mashed up against teams that are obviously like Division 9 or like 8 or 9, and it's like first of all, this isn't like winning is cool, but it's not always fun to win like 7-0. And I bet it's not fun for like other teams to get killed. Like why would you want to keep playing a game where you keep losing? And there's no opportunity for you to get better because the team above you was just, they're so much better than more experienced. And then the AI is also like, dude, like computer defensemen and computer goalies. Matt, why don't you talk about the computer defensemen and computer goalies? I feel like you have a lot to say on these guys.
The computer defenseman is like easily the worst AI I've ever experienced. Like all you got to do is just like hit the speed boost and you can skate around them. It's so stupid. Like the defensive skill stick, the AI doesn't utilize it whatsoever. Like
Not
even
only
like
that.
okay poke checks, but like they don't like lay down to block a shot with their stick.
But like weirdly,
it's so cut and dry.
Weirdly, they cut off every single cross you pass.
Yeah.
Like you can't get it through, which is crazy. But
and also when you have a computer defenseman, they'll play wing. They won't play their position, right? If you're playing 3-on-3, let's say, the AI is so I don't know what is. It's been like this for what 3 years? Like I think like NHL 20, like the COVID year, whatever NHL was out during that, like it hasn't changed. The AI has not changed, and every year they say new AI, but for some reason my computer defenseman plays left wing. Like it doesn't make sense. He's always up there.
They also like don't adjust like positions. Like if I'm covering the point, all of a sudden they're covering the point, and it's like what are you doing? And like the goalies this year, I've noticed especially. It's unplayable when you have a computer goalie. Like you can't do anything.
Yeah.
It's awful. And I do want to kind of point out the positives of this game, but it's like there's not like some of the arena stuff they did is cool, but it's so like beginner like surface level stuff. Like I remember when there was a game where like we were down like 4-0, you come back, you score like you score the hat trick and all the smoke and all the lights come out and like the hats are raining down. Like that's cool. That gets you in the atmosphere. But I wish they would just do more with it. They're so like, oh, we put this in, like look at us, and then they move on to the next game. Like this game feels like from EA, it was just like, all right, here you guys go, like figure out the issues, and then we'll fix it for the next game.
I think to add on to your point there, and something I wanted to bring up is like from NHL. So I started playing EA Sports Hockey League in maybe like NHL 10 or 11. And from that point, it was still kind of bare bones because it only started in 2009. It was very like simple, like a very simple game mode. And then they built it to the point in like 13, 14 where you had all this customizable shit. You couldn't really do stuff with arenas yet because like the technology wasn't there on PS3. But you have all this customizable shit, and it was a fun game mode. Like it was fun. Like okay, we have a base here. They took it to the next gen, PS4 and Xbox One, I think. So
yeah,
they took it to that. And they were like, hey, we deleted all the source codes or some shit because everything's gone. And there's no EA Sports Hockey League in 15. And then they bring it back like bare bones. Then they spend like the next 2 iterations with everything back in it and building up to where they were. And then since 19, they haven't done shit with it, right? So it was literally like they built this game mode and we're like, oh, this is very exciting to see where this goes. They bring it to next gen. They're like, shit, this is ass. They rebuild everything they just did since 09, and then it's been the same for the last 4 game generations. They haven't changed anything except for this year with the on-ice projections and the anthem, which, by the way, 0 people asked for. Exactly 0% of people asked for. And you see like maybe 10% of the time. Cool.
They also gave it a dumb nickname too, Ishol. That's still the stupidest thing ever.
Dude, by far, when all the trailers were coming out, the thing that fired me up the most, 100%, because I'm like, you just made that up now. Nobody's ever called it that, and you made that up now because you want people to call it that. Brutal.
I love playing like hockey games, just because like it's like I'm never gonna be good at real hockey as I am on this virtual hockey game, so it's a lot of fun. But I just think their quality of life is the worst in any game I've ever played. Like in any game, like in practice mode, you can just shoot on the goal. You can't scrimmage against your own team. You can't have more than one. You can't have more than one puck. You can't set up drills. You can't set up plays. You can't do any of that. They added this. They added this. Like you can edit the face-off formation and like edit these like plays and stuff, but it doesn't matter. Like it literally doesn't matter.
No,
it doesn't make a difference.
You can't see it on the ice. Like you cannot communicate these things online with people. Maybe in real life at a real practice, you could, like on a whiteboard, right? But you cannot communicate these things on, like, they need to show up on the ice. And they used to have that, Matt. Like, I swear, when we started playing esports hockey league, they had the strategies would show up.
Like,
right?
the arrows would show up and you'd be like, okay, you're skating here, and everyone's skating here, and then you do, like, and then it's, it's, another thing is, like, the meta builds are just, like, crazy. Because the problem is, why, they used to do this with, I forgot what the trait, there was this one trait called, like, it wasn't Cardio Master, but it was like the other iteration of it that was just like so OP that they literally got rid of it because it was so good. Everyone was using it. But in this game, if you run like the go-to traits, if you have Unstoppable Force, Truculence, or Elite Edges, those are the 3. Like those are 3 everyone uses. But I wish they were like more leveled out to the point where like you could like every trait is somewhat useful. Of course, like if you're using the lacrosse trait, it's just not doesn't really make sense unless you're just like playing against a bad team, just trying to go for clips. But it seems like either so many traits do similar things, or it's like I look at it and I'm like, why the fuck would I use this?
For more content, visit our YouTube channel and check us out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Don't forget to follow the guys on social media at Matt_Mondays, at Nick LaFlame, and at Darius Dominguez.